It's me again. Today's date is February 6th, 2024, Tuesday. Last week with MMTLP, NextBridge hydrocarbons, FINRA responded Thursday to Representative Ralph Norman's open letter, which Representative Ralph Norman commented on the letter on the Dennis Neal show, What's Bugging Me, how it was insufficient. And he will be proceeding with escalation processes with Congress with a possible subpoena. The SEC, who was also being addressed to by the open congressional letter, did not respond. Many people have commented on FINRA's response letter, which was quite lengthy, as Representative Ralph Norman pointed out. Part of the reason why the U3 Halt happened is because of a settlement issue caused by dates, T+2. Charles Gasparino from Fox News yesterday decided to somehow call me out to debate me on my reading skills and my reading proficiency. Because Charles Gasparino, in his mind, it was clear cut about these dates. Again, he's a Fox News pundit and he's just, tagging Bird Lady for some extra views. I responded and said I'll debate them only after a total of outstanding lended shares is received. How many shares on loan are there? That's what I want to know. How many shares on loan? I can combine the shares on loan with the 165.5 million and I can get a total share count that way. But how many shares are on loan? And I thought about it and I said, well, let's make a video about my methodology on the date discrepancies and that timeline. I'd spent quite a bit of time between the 30th and December 20th calling everybody I could, brokerages, FINRA, DTCC, and calling them all. I'd get a little crumb of information and I'd bounce it off the next entity I called to see how they responded to it or if they could give me an additional crumb of information. And I'm glad I logged it, but the date as follows. Let's start with November 2022 when MetaMaterials comes out with the press release as shown here, which states the terms of the corporate action. And this coincides with the S1 at the time. The T+2 settlement dates is between the December 12th and the December 14th. On December 14th, the Series A will be canceled and there will be the distribution of NextBridge. Okay, right? Canceled on the 14th, distribution on the 14th. T+2 is the 12th to allow that settlement. Then, on December 6th on the FINRA daily list, as shown here, there's a corporate action. And it says MMTLP shareholders with settled positions as of 12/12/2022, record date, will receive 1 share of NextBridge Hydrocarbons Inc. for every 1 share of MMTLP held on pay date, December 14th. Purchases of MMTLP executed after 12/8/2022 will not receive the distribution, will not be quoted X. MMTLP shares will be canceled effective 12/13. So there's some changes already here. All of a sudden, it went from canceled effective on 12/14 to 12/13. And now you're saying settled positions as of 12/2022, trades executed on December 8th will not receive distribution. This was not discussed in the original PR because it was laid out that trades executed after 12/12 will not receive the distribution. The settlement date was on the 14th, not the 12th. A date was changed. Reflecting this change, MetaMaterials on December 7th comes out with a press release that says, see the daily list, 2022, December 6th. At the bottom of this press release, it says, please note that the disclosure dates from FINRA regarding the trading of MMTLP in connection with the distribution of the shares of NextBridge supersedes and replaces all of Meta's prior disclosures and logistics and timing of MMTLP in connection with the distribution. Please consult your broker. Contact your broker for instructions, right? As of my video, I talk about how the DTCC is supposed to provide brokers with instructions on this, not FINRA. It doesn't come from FINRA, it comes from the DTCC, as evident by my logs and my calls and my posted conversations. So something's changed. There's a change in date, and it says that the change in dates by FINRA supersedes that of the company. That seems to be a rule violation of 6490, right? They said the dates were changed, it supersedes everything. Why were the dates changed? And why does this supersede, like, all of a sudden a rule violation, the dates were changed? What would lead to that? Was it a mistake and FINRA's trying to cover it? Or was it something more nefarious at hand? Either way, it led to the halt. Regardless of the intention of the date change, there now was settlement issue, which supposedly was not caught by these two corporate actions released. On December 7th, TD Ameritrade, as many of my wonderful viewers let me know and were messaging me with emails and audio clips from calls, TD Ameritrade was soliciting for shares. Can you lend out some shares on the 7th? If TD Ameritrade saw this corporate action, why would they ask to lend out shares on the afternoon of the 7th if there was going to be an impeding settlement issue the following day? If you only had one day to settle, why would you want to lend out some shares with an impeding settlement issue coming up? As Junk Savvy points out in her show, does TD Ameritrade not know how to read a corporate action? On December 8th, in response to all this, FINRA rolls out with a new corporate action, which essentially changes the words from canceled to deleted. I had my own theory on that, and I said, well, maybe this has something to do with share reconciliation, as what was explained to me by the DTCC and people at FINRA, market operations, and what was explained to me by the broker. Lo and behold, the halt happens. So I call the DTCC up on the 9th. I speak with quite a few people that day. DTCC said that FINRA was in violation of the DTCC due process. Does this mean it was in regard to the date that was changed, or to how the corporate action was handled, or that there would be a settlement issue when it's up to the DTCC to determine a settlement issue? The person wasn't sure, so I called FINRA for their opinion. Couldn't get a hold of them. Called the DTCC back. Was told that they were having a meeting. They've been in a meeting about this. Interesting. I called back an hour later and spoke to somebody new. They look up the ticker symbol and go, uh-oh, I'm on hold for 8 minutes. They come back and say they cannot talk about this ticker symbol any longer. They cannot tell me anything about it. So I said, thank you. And then eventually I get a hold of the one correspondent I had, the DTCC, who helped me with the open case on your behalf through the broker with the DTCC about this settlement issue. Linked below to that. In fact, Charles Schwab made a corporate memo about me in regards to this. So what did I do? I talked to the ombudsman and I made a letter, as stated here. The ombudsman responds with, see the FINRA FAQs. There's 2 of them. I email back and I say, thank you, Jack, for taking your time. The FAQ said that these corporate actions were consistent with the dates from metamaterials. They were not. It was not consistent with the S1, and it was not consistent with the November 30th press release. And I said, so why was the change? Why did the change happen? And is this change a violation of 6490? You figure a FINRA Office of Ombudsman could tell me that. There's clearly a change. Why did it happen? It was not consistent. The FAQ is wrong. Ombudsman responded, said, Miss Birdlady, unfortunately, all I can say is FINRA stands by the information posted. Once again, FINRA doubles down. When I questioned how they got the 2.65 million shorted shares and some discrepancy there, I was told by Jack Chase, FINRA is doubling down. They stand by their information. Once again here, FINRA stands by its information, that it was consistent. And again, it makes me wonder why the change happened. It was not consistent. And upon reading, it said, consult your broker for how the shares will be dealt with. So we did. We consulted our broker. And how the shares will be dealt with does not come from FINRA. It comes from the DTCC as they settle the shares. And it was at this time is where I thought maybe AST was full and it caused the U3 halt. Because according to the DTCC, the transfer agent gives them instructions, and then the DTCC is the one who tells the brokers how to settle the shares. If the transfer agent told the DTC such as AST was full and the shares couldn't be settled, that could have caused the U3 halt. And that's why at the time I was about AST being full. Unfortunately, since then, I have rescinded that theory due to the evidence coming out that AS2 is not full, and it made me look back on the timeline. Again, this is a methodology. It's changing. Things need to be revised. As I stated at the beginning of the video, I would go over my methodology. For what I did that day, and showing how I read the corporate action and how I interpreted the corporate action, press releases, as well as information from my broker, the DTCC and FINRA. And as FINRA stated on their response to Congress, nobody was aware of the U3 halt at the time it happened, not even the brokers. Getting back to the current date and time, where I'm speaking with the results of the ombudsman, FINRA continues to stick by the fact that they didn't do anything wrong in regards to the corporate action. FINRA has admitted a mistake with a coding error, but yet they don't admit a mistake with a discrepancy in the 2.65 shorted shares, e.g. shares on loan. And FINRA does not wish to elaborate on the discrepancy of the date change of the corporate action. But here we have FINRA violating due process of DTCC, changing dates, altering corporate actions. Does the due process violate 6490? I'm not sure. I don't have enough information to reach a hypothesis. At this point, I can only present my observations. But the observations and the information presented certainly doesn't come from a lack of reading comprehensive skills, as Gasparino wishes to point out. And if Mr. Gasparino honestly takes the time to watch this video and still claims reading comprehension skills and schooling me on the T+2 argument, then he is siding with FINRA, claiming an errancy when there's a clear violation of due process with the DTCC, a changing of dates from what the company originally issued. Was this a mistake or was it nefarious? We also have yet to determine that. I am hoping that a subpoena, in addition with the share count, will reveal some of this mystifying missing information that still remains out there. But to claim this is all revolving around a lack of reading comprehensive skills, it's quite possible that one might peg his brazen arrogance on a complete lack of situational awareness within the market itself. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I will see you soon. Goodbye.